Hi, folks. Welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, last couple of days with this stuff that's recently happened, New Orleans, Las Vegas, a few other little things, I've kind of held back. I try to do that. I try not to be the one to immediately jump the gun because I want to make sure that I'm saying the right things. And even now, I still don't 100% know, but I do feel more confident with things that's kind of starting to transpire. I'll just blurt it out and then we'll get on with it. I believe that we are very much on the verge of seeing war and other attacks in this country in the very near future. I'm no expert. I have no intel that you don't have. I'm not a genius when it comes to this. It's based on what I'm seeing happen, and then also just a little gut instinct. I could be wrong, and I hope that I am. I don't want these things to happen, but I think we're probably closer now than ever. And I know I've said that in the past, but there's just little things. In case you haven't been keeping up, so this guy that blew up the truck in Las Vegas in front of the Trump building, the Tesla Cybertruck, this guy supposedly was a United States former military Green Beret. This is the story. You tell me how this sounds familiar to something that many of us have followed in the past. Supposedly his body was burned beyond recognition, but his ID card was okay. I mean, a little singed, but it was okay. And that was the confirmation that who this guy is. Apparently, he trained with the same guy that did the thing down in New Orleans. They're trying to say that this is Islam. They're trying to say this is ISIS. But I think there's something else going on. Also, today, Joe Biden said that they are preparing, they, meaning the government, are preparing a preeminent attack on Iran if there's any sign that Iran is moving forward with their nuclear weapons program. And they'll do this, he said, up until the 20th when there's a transition of power. So, we're talking 18 days away. I think that there's a pretty good chance. I'm not saying it's 100%, but I'd say there's a pretty good chance that the next few days they might say, well, we have evidence that, maybe these two things were connected to, Iran. Iran's doing this. And there's evidence that they're, increasing their capabilities of nuclear weapons. And so we've got to go in there and do this and start a war. The very real possibility that more attacks could happen, sporting events, other things like that could be very, very real. And so, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my little hillbilly analysis. I don't think that this stuff is just random. They're trying to say that these guys are acting on their own, all this kind of stuff. There's some strange information going out there that apparently the guy in Vegas, the former Army guy, that apparently after he died in that there's evidence that he had logged in online. This stinks to high heavens, folks. Has a very strong odor, and I think that there's a lot more to it. And I mean, I don't know what else to say other than you need to start getting yourselves ready. I think that there's more stuff going on. It does not mean that these things will directly impact you unless you just happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. But even that, you need to keep your head on a swivel. Make sure you're paying attention to where you're at and what's going on. Anything that seems out of the ordinary, do not just discount it immediately. But also just being ready with what may transpire over the next couple of weeks, because it could be a lot. Even if it doesn't happen before the inauguration, that certainly doesn't mean that it won't happen at all. One thing Trump has been clear about, even through the campaign, is that he would be very open to going after Iran, doing things to them. There's been all this talk of that they're trying to take Donald Trump out, And so just because Donald Trump takes office, I don't think it means at all that there won't be anything going on there. I'm not yet at the point that I can confidently feel okay saying that this is a false flag, but it does smell like that. And I think that there's going to be more. Is it a distraction? Of course it's a distraction. But it also, I'm sure, has a purpose to getting things where we need to be. You have to remember, it was just a couple of weeks ago that they were saying that all the drones, at least some people, were saying all those drones flying around was probably the Iranians, which I thought was quite interesting, that if Iran has that kind of capability, then we should really be worried, folks, that they can be flying those kind of drones, that many, all over this country. Okay. But anyways, so I think that they're the bad guy. Both Donald Trump, Kamala, Joe Biden, all of them, pretty much all of them, have made it very clear that Joe Biden is Joe Biden, that Iran is the biggest threat the United States faces right now. And so, which is silly because Iran doesn't really place any threat, to the United States specifically. Maybe the Middle East, maybe Israel, but I'm not really worried about Iran invading this country. But I do think that things are getting close to being on the verge, if we're not already there. And you need to start getting serious about your preparations. I talked over on my locals channel today how starting Saturday, Sunday, and throughout next week, a good portion of the United States is going to be experiencing some very cold, wintry weather. There's ice storms warnings out in places, and snowstorm warnings out in places, and very cold, below freezing temperatures. It would be a good time to disrupt things and knock power grids down and stuff and make it very bad for a lot of Americans. I'm not saying it will happen. I'm just saying it's always within the realm of possibility if someone is wanting to cause a lot of problems. So I would take extra precautions, be extra prepared, more than you would normally be with a winter storm coming up. You should always be prepared for a winter storm, and when one is being predicted, you should take actions to be ready for it. You should probably do a little extra this time, because it would be an opportune time to cause massive disruptions in this country. And seeing all the pieces that are starting to kind of rapidly form together, I think that it would be a more likely scenario that war could break out in the Middle East, and that more attacks could happen in the United States. Israel has been talking the last week or so how they're planning an attack on Iran, and now this, and it's all coming together, folks. So get ready. I mean, you know what you're supposed to do. If you don't know, then you better learn real fast. But for the rest of you, you know what I'm talking about. Top things off, get things going, because I don't think there's much time left before we start seeing things move very rapidly in a very negative direction. It's time to get your houses in order, folks. Prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.